Welcome to the next installment in my video lecture series for international economics, and in particular I'm going to be taking a look at specialization and trade. And to do this, I'm going to have two production possibilities frontiers, one for a home country here in red and one for a foreign country here in blue. And let's just take a look at some of the information that we have. We have that the home country has 30 labor hours available to them. It takes 1 hour to produce a pizza and 1 hour to produce a beer. So if we take that amount of labor and the unit labor requirement for the two commodities, we get that the home country can produce 30 pizzas if all of its labor resources are used in pizza production, and they can produce 30 beers if they allocate all of their resources to the production of beer. The foreign country in blue has 100 hours of labor available. It takes them 2 hours to produce a pizza and 1 hour to produce a beer. So if they were to use all of their resources to produce pizza, they would be able to produce 50 pizzas and no beer. And if they used all of their resources in beer production, they could produce 100 beers and no pizzas. So we have the underlying PPFs for both of these countries. So one of the things that we are trying to illustrate is the fact that you can engage in specialization and trade, and hopefully both parties will benefit from that said specialization and trade. In order to do that, you have to come up with a term of trade, and let's pick a term of trade, a ratio of 1 pizza to 1 beer, and for illustrative purposes, we'll assume that the two countries involved here, the home and foreign countries, have agreed to exchange 20 pizzas for 20 beers. So if we look at the foreign country, they are going to be producing 100 beers. That's what they're going to specialize in. That's what they have the comparative advantage in. And they're going to take 20 beers of those 100 they produced and ship them to the home country and get 20 pizzas in exchange for that. So they're going to be left with 80 beers, and they're going to receive 20 pizzas in exchange. And as you can see, they're going to be able to consume at a level that's greater than is illustrated by the production possibilities frontier. So they are made better off by specialization and trade because of the fact that they are now consuming at a level that's greater than the maximum they could have produced on their own. Let's see if the home country benefits from this specialization and trade. So they're going to be producing 30 pizzas. They're going to trade 20 to the foreign country, which will leave them with 10 pizzas, and they're going to receive 20 beers in exchange. And as you can see, that leaves them exactly on their original PPF. So they are no better off than they were when they were self-sufficient, when they produced these two resources on their own, and they didn't engage in specialization and trade with the foreign country. So under this ratio here, one party benefits and the other party does not benefit. So this will not occur because the assumption that we're making is that individuals engage in trade to be made better off. And since the home country in this example is exactly as well off as they were when they were self-sufficient, there is no benefit from them engaging in specialization and trade. Let's select another term of trade, and that the ratio now is going to be 1 pizza for 2 beers, and let's assume that they have agreed to exchange 20 pizzas for 40 beers. So let's go with the home country, and they are producing 30 pizzas. They trade 20, which leaves them with 10, and they get 40 beers in exchange. So you can see under this term of trade, the home country is made better off. They are consuming at a level that's greater than their PPF. So they are benefiting with higher levels of consumption than were possible when they were self-sufficient. Let's see what happens if we apply this term of trade to the foreign country. They are producing 100 beers. They trade 40 beers and are left with 60, and they gain 20 pizzas in exchange for that. And as you can see, under that term of trade, what happens is they are now on their original PPF. So they gain no benefit from specializing and engaging in trade when the ratio is 1 beer to 2 pizzas. So under this scenario here, the home country benefits, but the foreign country doesn't. So realize that I picked these numbers specifically because you should realize that when the term of trade matches the opportunity of cost of production in a particular country, they will not benefit from that. All the benefits will accrue to the other country. So this ratio, this term of trade of 1 beer for 2 pizzas, will not benefit both parties. So therefore, it should not exist if these countries are rational. So since we gave 2 extreme ends of terms of trade here, that illustrated that not both parties are benefiting, let's pick a term of trade that falls between the two. For example, let's pick a term of trade where the ratio is 1 pizza for 1.5 beers, and for illustrative purposes, we are going to have these 2 countries trade 20 pizzas for 30 beers. So let's look at the home country. They are producing 30 pizzas. They trade 20 of them to the foreign country, leaving them with 10, and they gain 30 beers in the process. And you can see that they are now consuming more than was possible if they had been self-sufficient. They are exterior or greater than, at a consumption level that's greater than the ppf. So therefore, specialization and trade at this particular term of trade benefits the home country. Let's see if this happens also for the foreign country. They are producing 100 units of beer. They are going to trade 30, which will leave them with 70, and they are going to gain 20 pizzas. And as you can see, their consumption is now exterior to their ppf. So they are better off because they are consuming more under specialization and trade than would have been possible if they had been self-sufficient. So the thing I want to point out to you is that make sure you realize this, that specialization and trade can exist and benefit both parties as long as the term of trade falls between the 2 opportunity costs of production for the 2 countries. I gave you the examples where it was equivalent to the home country, and they were shown not to benefit at all, and the foreign country was shown to benefit from that. I gave you a term of trade that was equivalent to the opportunity cost of production in the foreign country, and they did not benefit while the benefits accrued to the home country. So if you have a term of trade that falls between the 2 opportunity costs, both of these countries will benefit from specialization and trade.